Well, hello, my friend. My name is Joe Bakhmutsky. I'm the founder of Power to Be Happy and also the author of Finding Hope in Times of Uncertainty, a guide to thriving in the challenging world of today. And listen, have you ever felt like life just got on top of you and you felt like exhausted and overwhelmed and you felt like it's all too much? And this sometimes happens when maybe you push yourself too far. Maybe you've tried to do too much, and sometimes listen, that happens on what I call like just a too much day, right? When you've really tried to do too many things, and maybe you things were kind of going well for you, right? And maybe you even tried to do even more, or maybe something unexpected popped up, and you kind of just it threw you out. It threw you out of balance, and it really kind of tipped you over the edge. And you tried to get on top of all of these problems, and you felt like you're just exhausted and crushed by the end of it. That can happen, right? It can also happen, something that happens like maybe over time. Maybe you've been, maybe you had a project that's been happening, in your work, right? That's been happening, and maybe it just got on top of you. Maybe in some way you've underestimated like things that are beyond your control, right? Like that includes other people and different circumstances and things that just life throws at you. I've certainly been, experienced all of this in the space of the last 3 days. I've been having a really good day, and I thought, why don't I try something else? And I tried to record another video, and I tried to do this and that, and it just wasn't working, and I had problems with the technology, and things weren't working out. And by the end of it, I was just so frustrated and so on edge. I didn't know what to do with myself. And then the next day, right, this project that I was doing in my work and that I thought was going really well, and then all of a sudden I just had this big presentation, and all of a sudden, I didn't feel like kind of the excitement that I was looking for from people, and it really kind of dragged me down because I really got kind of emotionally invested in it, and I was really excited about making it happen. And it really could just really weigh down on me, and I couldn't sleep well. It was just, it wasn't great. But then when I came to think of it the next day and came to reflect upon all of that which has happened, that's what I'm sharing with you today, I really find that it's a process that we gotta go through when we deal with these realities of just daily life, where sometimes you are doing your best, you're doing your absolute best, but maybe, you still kind of end up nowhere, and you feel like you're not where you'd like to be, or not where you even deserve to be through your efforts that you're putting in your work life and your personal life, whatever that might be, right? Because unfortunately, that's part of what we have to deal with. So I've got like 3 things for you that I feel is kind of a process to help with that and get on top of those frustrations and challenges that life sometimes throws your way, even when you're giving your best and you still feel like sometimes it's not enough. The first thing is to recognize, is the 3 R's, right? First is you gotta recognize, and this is really huge, and I think we don't do this as much as we'd like, or as much as we should, really, is to recognize that there are circumstances beyond your control. There's things that are not up to you, right? There's things that you cannot possibly do, and that includes other people, that includes events beyond your control, right? Because there's so many things. We live in such a complex environment, right? That it's true for your home life, it's true for a personal life, true for a professional life. So many things happen, and people, they're in different places emotionally. They've got different priorities as well. They've got their own pressures and challenges that they gotta deal with. they've got other things they've got going on, and then you've got, of course, all the circumstances beyond your events. There's emergencies, there's just something that just pops out and you gotta take care of it right away, or just something happens and it takes up your attention and focus and it just drags you down, or you feel you gotta be putting out these multiple fires at the same time. But it's important to recognize that those things happen and to not get down on yourself and just kind of demand to push on sometimes. Sometimes it's okay to just recognize it and really just think, you know what? There's things that I can't change. This person, what they're doing, or this particular situation, well, it was just tough. It wasn't easy. And that's how it is. And I don't need to make it my fault or anybody else's fault for that matter. It's just something that was what happened. And I can try and move on and deal with life as best as I can. So that's the first thing, just recognizing that it happened. Just simply looking and saying, seeing it for what it is. That sometimes there's things that you cannot control, influence, or change. The second thing I've got for you is refine. That's the second R in what we're doing here. Is to look at what you've been doing and reflect on what has happened. And to look at it from a perspective not about beating yourself up and saying, here's what I've done wrong. And or saying, this person is just not worth my time. Or they've done this and it's their fault. Or I'm not good enough and I don't deserve this, right? Not looking at it from that perspective, because that's not reflection, right? That's guilt, that's anger, right? We want to be looking at it from a place of learning, right? Reflection is always a place of learning. And I know that's tough to do sometimes. And I really have to pull myself back and say, you know what? I recognize that it's not up to me. What has happened, at least in some part, circumstances, it's people, it happens, it's nobody's fault. But if I'm to refine what I'm doing and at least my approach to things, because that is definitely something that I can at least influence in some way, how can I do things differently? How can I change the way that I feel? And sometimes changing the way that you feel about something is half the battle, right? And I know sometimes that's difficult to do. But changing the way that you feel sometimes, especially when you're looking at a situation, it's looking, what is it that you can and cannot control? It's separating that and trying to put your energy and your focus towards that which you can, and trying to at least set aside something that you cannot control or change in any way. But also when it comes to people, and changing how you feel, if you feel angry, if you feel frustrated, if you just feel like worked up, because that happens, right? Because sometimes people just get at you, right? Or you just get under each other's skin, like that happens, right? So to do that, how do you change how you feel? Well, in that case, sometimes it's saying, well, maybe this person, is going through their own things. They're going through their own challenges. They've got their own, situations that they gotta take care of. And maybe they didn't do it on purpose. It's just something that happened. But for me, if I'm looking at that, I can try to separate myself from those emotions that happened with this person. It's not always easy. In fact, most of the time, it's hard. But when you try to do that, and even if you can't do it 100%, but even if you can separate yourself from your emotions about a person or a situation, even if you do that by 5 or 10%, it's going to make a huge difference to your day. I'm telling you that because you're going to feel that it's just going to take the edge off things. It's going to make you feel better about yourself and where you're going. And once you refine, right, the third thing I want to do is the third R here, is to really redirect your efforts and your energy. And I feel that's always the first point, is go into a place of your strength. right? And maybe if this is, you know, a particular situation or a particular project or something that's been happening with the specific person, somebody's going, well, where I can redirect my personal energy? Can I do something else? Can I change my focus? Maybe for an hour, maybe for a day, maybe for a week. Can I do something else? What is it that I can really pick out that is gonna, you know, help me feel better, will help me learn something new, will help me achieve something else, right? What could that be? And that really, you're not saying that this thing didn't happen. You're not saying you're going to drop it. You're not saying you're not going to deal with it, but you're just going to redirect your efforts and your energy towards something else so that you can get results in a different area, so that you can change yourself up emotionally, right? How you feel, so that you can feel like you're doing something, and it takes your focus away from that which has been annoying you. So I hope this has helped you. I hope if you're in a place where you feel stuck or you feel you kind of hit the wall and you've tried to do things that's been really not working out for you and you're really like frustrated. I hope those three things can sometimes really help you, right? To recognize the circumstances beyond control, beyond your control. Also to refine what you're doing and how you feel. And thinking about like what can you change up or at least, you know, alter slightly in some way to help you along. And the third is to redirect your efforts, to do something different, and in some instances that's going to your personal strength. Feel things and that you feel confident about, things that way you feel that you can make the biggest difference. My name is Joe Bakhmutsky. I hope this has helped you. I'll see you next time.